Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the Annie Harris football channel dedicated to Bristol City content. We are doing a live match preview for this one. First time we've done that in a while, actually, because we have a very special guest on. Not to say a very good friend of mine, Benjamin Bloom, who is obviously, if you don't know by now and you're a Championship fan, you must be living under a rock if you don't know who Ben is. Brilliant YouTuber. You'll plug everything. Sooner or later. Ben, how are you doing? And how excited are you to face this Bristol City side tomorrow? Because you must be,
Do we have
licking
to
your lips
put
at the
our
moment.
Do we have to put our friendship on hold for sort of 36
Honestly,
hours or?
do whatever you want. I'm not bothered.
Am I excited to see Bristol City? It's just the sort of game you look at where every logical thing says home win, which then makes me think, right, hang on a minute. They set up nicely and played really well against Southampton, and they set up nicely and played really well against West Ham. So then my brain, the paranoid part of my brain, starts to go, oh, I wonder if this might actually be quite a good tactical matchup for Liam Manning if they can play counter attack. That's the paranoid side of my brain. The other side says we just won 5 on the trot. We're in an amazing moment, and Bristol City just lost 3 on the trot. So yeah, we're in between head and heart and logic and emotion. But no, it's difficult because I don't want to be critical. I'd be interested in your take, but I do feel when Bristol City used to come for a few years, it always used to be, oh, don't fancy playing against him or don't fancy playing against him. And I do feel maybe your team's a bit more balanced now, but hey, cue someone rattling one in from 35 yards or scoring a hat trick or something now. But I do feel, where's the big player that's gonna beat us there? But what's your take on that?
Yeah, we don't help ourselves by selling all of them, to be honest, especially to Bournemouth, and then not replacing them with adequate quality. I mean, we've got, as you said, probably a decent balance, but you've got to also have that quality about you, and I don't think necessarily we're showing it at the moment. And I do think we probably have that quality. Again, we need to show it. Good test is going away to Portman Road and try and do that. It's not going to be easy, but I suppose that's the test of the Championship, going away to second. Talk about being second, obviously. Yeah, I know a lot of people are tipping Ipswich to have a good season since coming back from League One. The style of football you were playing was really quite unique, especially the third tier. Did you really expect this sort of season, like this level of performance, and with the fact that you've been up against Leeds, Leicester, Southampton?
No, absolutely not. No, I predicted we'd finish 12th, and I know there was a lot of hype, and I got a bit annoyed at the start of the season because we became the hipsters tip. Everyone was going, "Oh, I'm cleverer than everybody else. I know what I'll do. I'll put Ipswich really high up the league table." And let's be honest, nobody knew, and it's always a bit of guesswork with the predictions, isn't it? And I normally, Annie, go on the logic one of the 3 year one parachute teams will, have bad seasons. Not normally all 3 of them have got their ducks in a row and away they go. But there was no way of knowing. Kieran McKenna had never managed in the Championship, so nobody had any evidence on that. And a lot of the players, you can talk about sort of Christian Walton's been on loan in the Championship or whatever. I suppose Sam Morsey was one. Leif Davis was kind of at Bournemouth
Chaplin,
on loan. Yeah, Chaplin, that's a fair shout. Yeah, Chaplin and Morsey. Chaplin was player of the month, wasn't he, for Barnsley? But Broadhead had a few loans, and so a lot of the players were sort of unproven. People like Luke Wolfenden have been relegated from this. You've got a bit of the stink on him from the end of the sort of Paul Lambert season. So I don't know. I think there's a bit of guesswork in those people that said that we would have a good season. But I mean, it's absurd, isn't it? It's absolutely absurd because you study the league, don't you? And just doesn't happen that teams kind of go back to back. But I remember Watford doing it with Graham Taylor in the late 90s. Norwich did it, didn't they, with Paul Lambert? This is all before the parachute payment era got ridiculous, and it was a bit more of an even playing field. Man City did it under Joe Royle, really late 90s. But Southampton did it. I think Southampton did it, didn't they? But
Atkins, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But there's always mitigating factors, like you say about Southampton or Man City. What are they doing in League One in the first place anyway? And they get the momentum. But no, it's just absolutely fantastic. And I know you were a guest in the chat yesterday on our Blue Monday podcast, and it's just the whole show is just us going, what is going on? This is brilliant.
Yeah, I'd be like that if my team were in League One and it's got me second above the likes of Leeds and Southampton, and not looking like they're going to stop. Ahead of tomorrow, then let's just focus on the game for a little bit. Then, well, I don't want to say what are your thoughts on us, because at the moment it's not. I wouldn't expect too much positivity, but just looking at this game from an Ipswich perspective, it's sandwiched in a 3-game week, isn't it? So, do you expect changes perhaps to the first team 11? Does McKenna normally do that?
Yeah, he would normally. This would be a big circle around this one, because he normally has a bit home and away rotation, and he tends to rotate in the middle game on the 3-game week. I remember going down to Southampton early in the season, and you're playing Southampton as well, and he made 5 changes. And before the game, I dared to go, what are you doing, Kieran? Play the strongest team. 2 hours later, after we'd won 1-0, I'm like, oh, McKenna's right again. McKenna wins again, It's a bit more difficult to call this one for a couple of reasons. One is that we're in the point in the season now where I bet if you watch, particularly watch Daniel Farker, who knows how to get promoted from the Championship. I bet he either stops rotating or rotates less now and just rides it out through the last. I think there'll be less for a lot of the teams, but obviously Luongo was ill on the coach, so you never know whether if someone's poorly. It's normally the next day you leave it as well, and then we're at Monday today, and it's has he trained or what have you. So Luongo could come back. I don't know. Tuan Zabi played at right back. Harry Clark had a dead leg, but fortunately, as happens when you have a well-coached team, he's just slotted in. I know he's got a lot of quality, Tuan Zabi. The big ones, though, are obviously Broadhead and Burns, who are essentially 2 of Ipswich's best players, were not fit to play on Saturday. So you wonder, will they be fit to play on Tuesday? But probably don't want to go Hutchinson and Sarmiento 2 games running. So you would imagine if there's a way of getting one of those 2 in, they would come back in. I do think if he had everybody, he might go sort of full strength, strongest 11. I'm just double checking who's the end of the Cardiff away. So I think he might go a more physical team in that one. So maybe he could save Travis, or I don't know. But for a fact with this team now, Halaki will play, Wolverton will play, Davis will play, Morsey will play, Moore will play, Chaplin will play, because there's a very settled sort of unit there.
I don't want to face West Burns for a load of reasons. Especially,
Danny as well, in the first 30 minutes of home games as well, the switch of play and that right-hand side, he's been at it, really, just because he's far more direct than Broadhead just running as a winger. Broadhead's all clever and little bursty runs in the pocket, whereas Burns, bit of a throwback, I'm going to stand on the touchline and run fast down the line. Do you know what I mean?
If you've watched even a snippet of the goals we've conceded in the last 3-4 games, it's literally all been down our left-hand side. It's always been the team we've played have always targeted either Campering or Ian Roberts, and not because they're bad players. They just it's probably mainly because of the system, because they tuck in, they're asked to push forward, and then that leaves space behind them. And Westburn, to the pace he has, obviously that's going to. Ian Pervader did that for Sheffield Wednesday, where he's got in down Hayden Roberts. Hayden Roberts Campering probably. Couldn't deal with
Well,
that.
Annie, what's tended to happen is because the whole world and his son has got Leif Davis scouted as having astronomical numbers, everyone's spending so much time worrying about Broadhead and Davis, or, whoever plays down the left, that the quick switch of play has been pretty. I mean, I felt sorry for the. I see you got Ian in the chat. I think it was Peltier playing for Rotherham. He's about 37 as well. It's like, you poor. Although Rotherham were amazing actually in the second half, but yeah, the first half of that game, that was the outball all the time.
In terms of again tomorrow, I've asked you about the changes, but what sort of performance would, because normally Ipswich are quite free scoring at home, aren't they? And generally away from home. Well, from what I've seen, just first assumptions. They're a little bit more watertight away from home. Kept the clean sheet at Ashton Gate. Kept the clean sheet at Argyle. That's quite hard to do these days. So would you agree? A, would you agree with that? And B, do you think that's the sort of game plan you'll be deploying tomorrow as well?
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I'm just looking. So away from home, I mean, this is mind blown. If you've won 10 away games this season, which is absolutely crazy.
I'd take 10 wins at this point.
Yeah, right. Scored 26, conceded 18. So it looks like, where's West Brom? I bet theirs is low. No, only Leeds have conceded fewer away from home, whereas at home, Ipswich have conceded 27, which is, Ipswich conceded more at home than Rotherham. In fact, I'm struggling. I can see Blackburn have conceded. Oh, Plymouth. When did Plymouth concede so many goals at home? I'm trying to think who they'd had a high scorer against. But yeah, at home, it's just been bonkers. And I mean, 4-3 against Rotherham. I'm trying to think of all the high scoring games. There must have been 3 4-3s and 3-2s already this season. Came back from 2-0 down to beat Cardiff. They tended to I think Blackburn was 4-3 at home.
Was that the Luongo game?
Yeah. Beat Swansea 3-2. They were behind in that one. Beat Plymouth 3-2. Preston 4-2. Wolves 3-2 in the cup. Yeah, Blackburn 4-3. It's just been all-out attack, really. And it's one of those things where when your manager is kind of better than your players, you get this, because if you would think if Kieran McKenna had parachute-level players, maybe the goals for would be equally high, and maybe the goals, conceded would be fewer. But there's a lot of League One players in that team. So if your question is, will Bristol City be able to score against Ipswich because Ipswich are massively open? Yes is the answer.
We need to put the ball in the back of the net for that. I don't trust our forwards at the moment. Just quickly on us then, because we are also playing, unfortunately. Do you think? Well, what are the players you look at that City squad and go, oh, they might cause us a few problems? Maybe because of quality, or maybe just because you might have a little bit of a weak spot that maybe that certain player can target.
In terms of match winners, it was always Conway, but I can see from my iPad here that he didn't actually start the last game, and Naki Wells started up front. I've always liked Jason Knight, but he's not a player. He's a player you would look at that would support the guy that's going to beat you, score the goals and get the assists and whatnot. And that's what I mean. I like Bell is out for the season. Is that right?
Yeah.
He would have been one I would have. You were sort of telling me about the Sykes and Bell when they both play with Conway as well. And I'm just looking, and I'm not seeing Conway, and I'm not seeing Bell, and that's what I mean. When if it was a Bobby Reid or a Joe Bryan or a Alex Scott, I remember even Jeju, obviously Abraham was ridiculous, but he was never your player, was he? But
Scott Twine would help.
well, so what's the deal with him at the moment then? How fit is he?
No idea. I have
Don't
absolutely
know.
no idea. Don't know if he's going to be fit for tomorrow.
Scott Twine scored one of the best goals that's been scored against us at Portman Road for Swindon.
Okay.
Look it up. Yeah, hell of a goal. Yeah.
But he was meant to be back for Cardiff, and then Manning revealed in his pre-match that he wasn't fit, but he was on the bench for the game before that. So no idea what's going on with Twine. If he is in the squad tomorrow, I'd be quite very surprised. But yeah, sorry.
No, it's just that was the point I was making. I missed off Semenyo as well. These players who you would really have you don't want to go against those boys. But yeah, I just feel. I mean, would it be fair? Let me ask it to you as a question. Would it be fair for me to say, well, it's kind of waiting for the summer now, and you just stay where you stay, and well. Looking at the way the bottom of the table's going, get a few wins, I think, rather than stay where you stay. But do you know what I mean? It feels in a bit of a holding pattern. Is that fair until summer?
Well, good time. Dave's coming. QPR are doing quite well. We're quite worried about them at the moment.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we just need to get some confidence back because they look so short of confidence at the moment. I think you're right about the game winners. I think lack of quality, maybe, but just a general lack of, I think, cohesion at the moment in terms of what we're trying to do is evident, but there's a lack of execution about the way we go about things on the pitch. If we can't break teams down, if we have more of the ball and teams hold the good structure. I think I said this on your Patreon, didn't I?
That's what I mean, though, Annie, about the. Sorry to interrupt. That's what I mean about it'll. If you play the Southampton strategy and counter-attack and transition quickly, that will, I could see you scoring, and half the league has taken the lead at Portman Road as well, haven't they? So, there's always that. But I guess you almost want it to be a bit of a basketball-y wave back and forth game, don't you? Rather than you're going to get pushed back, and I think we'd win, comfortably if it was you let us push you back and sit back a bit. So, I'm trying not to sound overconfident because that's always famous last words, isn't it?
I don't think we've been battered in terms of scoreline. We have been battered in terms of games. I think Leeds at home was an example where it was only 1-0, but it should have been 4-5. We've not really been battered in terms of scoreline. We're relatively okay defensively. I think at one point recently we had one of the best defensive records in the league. Only
keeper's good, isn't he?
Depending on who you talk to.
Well, I'm talking to you.
I think he's quite good. I think his distribution can be improved, but his apart from that, his shot stopping is quite good. In a game like this where you'll probably have a lot of saves to make. Yeah, I think Max O'Leary's quite good at doing that. And suited for this type of game. Just quickly then, do you expect this will be? Well, do you expect Kieran McKenna will be looking at this game going, well, we're in a promotion race. It's a side low on confidence, coming to Portman Road, mid-table, not really much to play for. Well, we think, unless something drastic happens. Do you think will be Ipswich, just walking over City?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter where you've come from if you're in League One for 4 seasons or whatever. If you're in a promotion race where Southampton have won 21 games, Leeds have won 22, Ipswich have won 22, and Leicester have won 25 already, and we still have 11 to play, it looks like the sort of thing where you just have to win against, and you have to be respectful. So I'll say you have to win at home against sides that are in the bottom half of the table. I think particularly Southampton and Leicester have just beaten up on the sides in the bottom half of the table and just pretty much just beaten all of them, haven't they? Sort of through the course of the season at some point. But yeah, I mean, I'm always fairly pragmatic on the 2 points per game thing, even though 2 points per game literally might not get you automatic promotion this season. But you look at a 5-game win streak ending with a 3-game week and a trip to Cardiff as well. You'd just be like, right, bank the 3 points. And then if you do draw against Cardiff, in the early kickoff in Wales against a team that's good on set pieces, I think, it's got to be,
It's got to be.
win or bust in this type of promote. Normally, I'd say, okay, 3-game week. If you can get 7 points, you're fine. If you get 6, happy days, whatever. But it's just such an absurd standard, isn't it? That even with respect to Bristol City, that just have to beat them, don't you?
I think that's probably the case, isn't it? For top 4, to all the top 4 at the moment. Just finally, from my perspective, I'm not going to say I'm expecting a complete battering. I'm not confident going into this game, as you can probably imagine, with the fact that Ipswich are so good and the fact that we've been on a pretty shoddy run recently. And I don't know if you saw this or heard about it, but there's a large majority booing after. Not only just because it's a derby game, but when Manning came over to the singing section, a large majority of them started booing, particularly at Manning. So all's not well within our fan base at the moment. Never is, actually, weirdly enough. But
I have encountered Bristol City fans on Twitter for about 6 months after a certain person joined our club.
I forgot to talk about him.
I'm fully aware of how the mood can be. There.
Should have talked about him. That would have got the views. I should have clipped that out. Like, Ben hates Mark Ashton.
Put him in the thumbnail. Ben loves Mark Ashton. Hey?
Oh, just gets the views, doesn't it? Right, Ben. I will not hold you for too much longer.
No, you're okay, mate. You're okay.
Thank you very much for coming on. I won't push you for a score prediction because that'd be a bit rude.
No,
thank you very much.
You can. I've done them with parking.
Okay, go on.
And I think they're out at like maybe 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. It's just uploading right now as we speak. And I did predict a home win, but I did predict both teams to score, which is the Ipswich home result this season. The home record is better than I thought it was. First world problems. There's 40 points in 17 games,
ridiculous.
And only the defeat against Leeds back in, it must have been August, really maybe September, really early in the season.
All right. Basically Ipswich are very good, and we don't stand a chance. I'd take a goal. I'd take a goal. I think for us, the Swansea game next week is probably a lot more important than this one, to be honest. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's been in the comments. That's been massively appreciated. Thank you to Ben, of course, for dedicating his time. Ben, do you want to just give us a little plug for your YouTube channel? I'm not sure. I'm sure everyone already knows.
No, let's not plug my channel. Let's plug your channel. Watch this man. I'm old and long in the tooth, and people like Annie are the future of championship coverage here on YouTube. And he's very passionate about the league, same as me, passionate about Bristol City as well. So yeah, it'd be lovely if you watch my stuff, but keep watching. Which way do I point? Keep watching this guy's stuff. There you go.
I still struggle. If my football team couldn't make me so miserable, I would be more than happy to make more content on a more regular basis. But yeah, Ben, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Massively appreciated. Great man. And yeah, thank you to everyone who's joined us. Before you leave, do hit the like button, helps with the algorithm. And yeah, do hit the subscribe button as well. And thank you very much for watching. Keep safe, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.